Hello everybody, I am Hacklebeast, and I am here with Week 16 action of Gambit Cup. First match on the docket is DM versus NB, and we have DM with a capital M, Cryok, versus MB's Mazur. Good matchup, good matchup. Cryok will be the yellow Terran at the top right. Mazur, the teal Protoss at the bottom. The map is Tau Cross. So, going back in time a little bit, using a a very well-known map from the past. Anyway, so, DM versus NB. I don't think that I'm being too extreme when I say that NB is slightly favored in this matchup. NB has a lot of very talented players, and they don't have the largest of rosters, but the fact that they don't have the largest of rosters doesn't matter so much in Winners League. They only need 4, and theoretically they only need 1 if the one player's good enough. And to be honest, Mazur, very likely Mazur could get an all-kill here. Very talented player. DM does not have a super heavy-hitting player on their own. On the other hand, though, I was reffing this in the beginning just to get people's sets off before I knew I was casting, so I didn't mean to spoil myself. But I saw in the chat Mazur say, lol 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 lol, I'm drinking my 5th beer now. So, who the hell knows? He could totally fall on his face right here. But then again, he does a lot of his games drunk, so I would say he's kind of used to it. Actually, every time that I've just hung out in an NV Clan War chat room, Mazur's talking about how drunk he is. What a true StarCraft player. An inspiration to us all, no doubt. So, Mazur's going to go for the fairly early scout, rather normal timing, as opposed to Cryok, who delayed his a little bit. Not going to see anything too spectacular. Sees the gas, sees the barracks. So Cryok's going for a pretty safe play. Most likely siege expand. But could go for an expansion immediately after throwing down the factory. Meanwhile, Mazur getting up his cyber core, so he is also going to do some standard stuff. Now, a lot of Mazur's gameplay, and a lot of his matchups, is dictated by his harass. I think Mazur is one of the best harassing Protoss players out there. Constantly dropping, constantly storming, constantly having DTs out on the field. And harassing a Terran can be a bit more difficult than it is versus Zerg or versus Protoss. So I'm kind of excited to see him play against a Terran and see what kind of harassing options he can open up. Range is on the way and the first Goon is out. We'll be using that to try to poke in to Cryok's base. We'll shoot the bunker if a bunker's up. We'll shoot at the Marines if there's not too high of a Marine count. Anyway. SCV, is it going to manage to get away from the Dragoon? Oh, very nice from Cryok, even got the last round in there. The Dragoon should be able to catch up to the SCV, but as we all know, that is quite the challenge for the Dragoon. To actually walk in a straight line and not get stuck on stuff. Anyway, second gateway going down from 0, so he'll continue to make Dragoons out of that one as well. And the first 2 Dragoons are going to head towards Cryok's base. Cryok making an interesting decision with the SCV, pulling it away from not going towards his base, so the Dragoons were less likely to pursue it. I like that decision. Very small thing, but possibly going to give you a little bit of an advantage if you're scared about early Dragoon pressure. First tank out for Cryok, though, so he's going to be completely safe, assuming that he's able to keep the Marines in front of the tank and not let the Dragoons get a snipe off. Mazur doesn't quite have enough Dragoons at the moment to get a snipe off, but once he gets up to 4, and more safely 6, sniping is certainly going to be a threat. Very early mines done from Cryok. And he's now building vultures, so it looks like Cryok wants to get pretty aggressive in the beginning of the game. We'll see what he's able to do. Pretty good micro from Cryok to constantly get shots off, but Mazur doing a good job backing up as well. And is he going to be able to get the snipe? Ooh, getting dangerously close, but not quite. Tank below half health now, and all of the Marines are dead, so the tank definitely needs to retreat, and Mazur has not lost a Dragoon. 2 of them are almost dead, 1 of them lost all of his shields, but none of them have died yet. So Mazur showing off his impressive micro. Anyway, Mazur is going to be able to safely expand behind this. The attack really didn't go anywhere from Cryok, and without that initial force of 5 Marines, that really cuts down on Terran's options in the early game to put a little bit of pressure on. You just don't have anything to tank shots for your tanks. But Cryok should be fine in expanding behind this. He doesn't have siege mode though, so that's a little bit worrisome. But 2 siege tanks, ooh, and a nice mine hit is going to be probably enough to hold the goons off, unless Mazur really invests a lot into the attack, which I doubt. He seems more content just keeping most of his goons at home, preventing that those couple of vultures from sneaking in. Ooh, Mazur with the very fast shuttle. Now, some players, specifically on this map, like to get the fast shuttle not necessarily to be aggressive, but just to ensure that Terran's not going to be able to siege up this high ground. That's very, very annoying on this map. However, I did start off by saying that Mazur is a very harass-oriented player. So, by all means, he could be making that for harass. But that would not be what most players do. I'm trying to remember who the player is who does that in almost all their games. I think it's Jumper, maybe? Is Jumper the player who always builds a shuttle just to hang around? I can't remember. But it looks like Mazur is just keeping it here. Does not want siege tanks on the high ground. And I can't fault that logic at all. Just gonna spend that extra 200 minerals to prevent something that could possibly lose you the game. Great decision in my book. Anyway, Cryok getting up to a 4th factory. Now that's been thrown down. He has an armory researching his +1. So he's going to chug away on 2 bases for a while. Very tank-heavy composition so far. And a tank-heavy composition means that he's not really going to be able to be aggressive. He can't use vultures for harassment just because he doesn't have vultures. And he can't really push out just because a full tank core is quite vulnerable. He made a full round of vultures though, so that brings it from 2 to 6. It's still a little bit better, but I'm kind of surprised to see him move out, and he's not being a little bit more cautious with this. But this is a very scary army. If he's able to micro-correct it, we'll see what he's able to do. Ooh, even losing 1 vulture like that can actually be quite costly when you don't have a huge wave of vultures to just sacrifice. Is he making lots of speed vultures behind this? He's not making that many speed vultures behind this. I think that he's going to run into an issue of just having siege tanks pretty soon. Now, Mazur doesn't have speed lots yet. Yes, those are slow zealots, and I do not see a cyber core. Or, not a cyber core. I don't see a citadel. That's the word I meant that started with a C. So, he's going to have to rely on the shuttle to deal with a lot of this tank pressure, but the shuttle is going to be rather effective, especially with the mines being laid down right around the siege tanks. Is he going to be able to get a mine drag off? No, he's going to drop on the other side. Dragoon's going to march forward, take out all the mines now that the tanks are unsieged, and the tanks are in a bad position. If he goes in, no, he's going to back off. Ooh, I think that the Dragoons could have gotten in there. I still think he can get in there and do a lot of damage. He's now going to drop the Zealots, and this should be enough to clean up the Terran force. He doesn't have a lot of Vultures, so the Dragoons going to be able to march forward. Even a very nice split from Mazur. Dragoon splits against siege tanks, often overlooked micro mechanic, but very effective when you have Dragoons and tanks in these numbers. And Mazur's going to be able to clean that up rather easily, and this is what I was afraid of when he moves out with so few Vultures. Everything's fine and dandy as long as the Protoss stays in front of you, but as soon as speed zealots come out, or as soon as your opponent has a drop ship, all of a sudden your tank lines become very, very vulnerable. Cryok abusing maps from 2005 that allow you to build in the middle. Oh, we have eliminated that since then because it is horribly imbalanced. But not on this map, man. You can build anything you want out here. So, Cryok's going to start to make a little bit of a line, working his way over towards taking his third, which he needs to do relatively soon. Mazur's got a very fast third, as I pointed out earlier, and it's just not been touched at all. Cryok, a product of not having that Vulture count, has had no harassment this game. Get the Observer. Kind of surprised by how many Goliaths Cryok has. Occasionally you see a Terran get a fast Goliath or two just for Observer hunting. But 4 seems a little bit excessive considering Mazur couldn't be anywhere close to Arbiter Tech unless he rushed there. Now that I think about it, Cryok might not have scanned the third base. So, if Mazur rushed to a 2-base Arbiter, maybe this would be around the time Arbiters come out. That might be the rationale behind it. I hope it's not, because that means he doesn't realize that that Mazur has a third base. He should realize Mazur has a third base. Anyway, leg speed about halfway done. Observer speed finishing up. This is going to be pretty unbreakable. From Mazur's perspective, I think he's better off at this point just letting Cryok take his third base, letting it and bring it to the late game and doing exactly this, taking a fast fourth, maybe even a fast fifth behind that, and just macro up an enormous army. I do like that Cryok has been getting upgrades. He got that pretty fast armory and immediately got +1 from it. And now getting +1 armor as well. He does not have the science facility yet, so he can't use his second armory, kind of humorously. I assume that's what this SCV is meant to do, but just hasn't quite got the money for it quite yet. How are Mazur's upgrades looking? He has double forges here, getting 1-1, I assume. Yes, getting his 1-1. So a little bit behind, but soon we'll catch up as long as Cryok doesn't build that does not build that science facility. Not. Oh, that was a scan. Wow, that's a very nice timing from Mazur. I can't say that that was skill to know that Cryok would scan just then and then move in with the probe. But at the same time, what? I don't know, man. I'm kind of torn. Either that was like some of the most Gosu shit I've ever seen to keep the probe here and then wait for the scan and then move the probe in, or he was just clicking over in this direction and then move the probe in and it happened to work out perfectly timed. Not sure. Looks like Cryok's gonna go for a drop in the back of the base. I'm not sure how much damage he's going to be able to do here. Probes are getting pulled away. There wasn't a huge saturation to begin with. And it looks like the Vultures, they don't even have mines. He didn't bring mines with him. He's going to scout the Arbiter Tech, so he knows Arbiters are on the way. He's going to have a chance to drop a siege tank here. Ooh, or in the back of the mineral line. Is that actually Zealotite? Oh, we're about to find out. It is not. Siege tank still manages to get a cannon kill and 3 probe kills. 4 probe kills. So, not a complete waste. Wait. How did that Zealot take a shot? What? There's not another tank. How did that Zealot get hit? He was right next to the tank. Tanks can't shoot immediately in front of them. What? How did that happen? Why am I so confused? I don't know. I don't know. It's a magic tank. It's a magic tank, and Cryok wasted his magic tank. Anyway. So, Mazur getting very close to a maxed army. 12 supply short, but he's supply capped right now. Cryok also has a very high supply count, but just a slight bit behind. Pretty normal for the TVP matchup. Mazur has now thrown down his 5th base. His 4th base is more than just operational. He's got 3 cannons there already. And I'd say this is looking pretty good for Mazur at this point. Cryok's executed his game plan of, I'm going to get to 3 bases in Turtle. But that's fine from Mazur's perspective. He wasn't trying to break it at all. He hasn't lost horrible amounts of units into it. He just kind of relatively calmly took his fast 3rd, took the 4th, took the 5th. He could even take a 6th at this point. I see no reason why he couldn't just throw down a command center here. He's got the money for it. Anyway, Arbiters are out, researching Arbiter Energy. Are these 2-2 upgrades on the way? Yes, they are. And Cryok, he has to have his science facility down by now. Yes, the science facility's down. So he is getting 2-2 of his own. Dropship heading around the left side. He's going to drop it here and see that there is no expansion. Interesting, just a long-term denial strategy of this base. Let's see how it works out. Anyway, the other 2 vultures are going to be, well, the cannons don't actually reach all the way behind the mineral line. So I thought the vultures were going to be killed pretty quickly, but one of them manages to escape scratch-free. Still has 2 mines to lay down, but it will not be able to lay them down. It's blown up by his own mine. That is a lot of gateways. And at this point, I'm just marveling at the fact that it looks like this is like such cool gateway placement. And he can still throw down 2 more. Wow, dude. Mazur's got this worked out, man. That's so slick. Oh, that's so slick. How many gateways is this anyway? 11, 13, 17, 18, 19 gateways? 19 gateways. Mazur's doing little skirmishes with this army, and he only has 1 arbiter up here. There are 3 more down here. There we go. Should definitely be getting those arbiters with the rest of his army, because there are science vessels out for Cryok, and 1 EMP is really just going to make him a sad Protoss player. Well, looks like Cryok finally reached his maxed army. He has his 2-2 upgrade, so it's a very scary army. Now, will he be able to execute this attack? It's hard to manage that big of an army. Tau Cross isn't very friendly for that. There are bridges you have to cross, and it's kind of easy for the Protoss to get flanks off. But we'll have to see. Why do I hear shooting? It's not this. Ah, wow, that took me a really long time to find. Double recall. into Cryok's base. He's taken out a lot of factories already, and Cryok just doesn't have the army to deal with this. The army's on the other side of the field, and it is taking out Mazur's fourth, but he's lost his entire main at this point. He will eventually be able to clean it up. But, oh, he suffered a lot of casualties, and losing that fourth is not huge for Mazur. There he goes. It looks like he's also going to lose the third, though. There's no way those 3-3 upgrades are going to be finishing. So, taking out the refinery. Should be able to get the command center, although at this point the command center is just there for supply and scan, I guess. Mazur doesn't seem too concerned about this army here, as he's rallying a lot of units to reinforce the attack Cryok's third instead. It's a little bit of a risky play because I mean, that's taking out two of his bases. He does have two expansions up and running at the top left side, but well, we'll see. One forge has gone down, the other forge is going down now. Mazur came in for the attack on the third and is doing a lot of damage here. These siege tanks were not sieged in a very good location, so he's going to lose a lot of them to just zealots. Hallucination zealots? What? What? There were hallucinations else in that. I didn't even know that I couldn't see hallucinations as the observer. I just kind of assumed that if somebody was to ever make hallucinations, I would know about it, but that was wrong. I had no idea those were hallucinations. I don't even know what purpose that was for, because there's like only two of them. But whatever, man, it's working. Mazur took out the third, is now taking out the line of stuff that connected the natural to the third, and is now pushing into the natural. Cryok is not mining at all, and he does have a nice bank, but he's under 100 supply, and this game is looking pretty much over. This attack force, it just didn't need to be dealt with from Mazur's perspective. He let it take out, this is now the third or the fourth? No, this is the third base it's taking out now, and it just doesn't matter because Mazur has so many bases around the map and so much stuff. That's the way to play against Turtle Terran. You just expand everywhere, let them attack, accept the losses, and kill them. Nice game played. There's a wall of SCVs blocking the Dragoons from getting back to the siege tanks. It's actually going to save him for a little while. I'm looking for if Cryok's trying to sneak an expansion somewhere, but I don't see it. This looks like his only SCVs left. He has a nice mineral bank, but with no gas. This is his only mining guy. He rebuilt the geyser here so he can mine depleted minerals. Mazur is finally going to deal with the tank force. Excuse me. Most of the expansion has fallen already, though. He might be in time to save the Nexus, though. Nope. Never mind. Nexus is going to go down. Yeah. This game's pretty much over. Mazur expanding to this mineral only here. He doesn't have to worry at all about... Well... I say he doesn't have to worry at all about mining out, but that expansion is being harassed. This is almost gone, and that leaves him with only one. I'm trying to look at any way for Cryok to come back in this, but I don't see it, just because he's not able to expand. Spamming the vultures because those don't cost gas. But it is certainly too late in the game for a pack of pure vultures to be effective at all. Single stasis going down on the injured siege tank. Doesn't matter. This should be the final attack as they just clear out the units, clear out the mines, and then attack the natural. Well, I guess Missouri really just does not want to engage 3 siege tanks with an SCV escort. I think he's being a little bit overcautious. I mean, he might not be able to win the engagement outright, but it's not like he needs to worry about losses. And using the Archons to get his way in, the siege tanks are now unprotected, and GG from Cryok. Mzur looking pretty good, taking game 1 for Team NB. Alright, so let's go into game number 2 of NB versus DM. As you all know, this is Winners League, so Mzur will be staying on, and let's find out who his next opponent will be. It will be DM LML. DM LML. So, Mzur is the purple Protoss, top right. DM LML is the white Protoss, bottom left. And the map is going to be Jade. Now, Jade, I like Jade for PvP. I like the configuration of the 3 bases, of the 3 closest bases, the main, the natural, and the third, makes for interesting possibilities in this matchup. And when one person has an advantage, they have to think really hard about how they want to attack. They can either attack through the third if the opponent has it up, then it's really hard to attack, but you get something by attacking it as opposed to attacking up the bigger ramp. But if the opponent hasn't taken the third, then you have to choose between going up through the third and attacking through a choke, or attacking through the enormous ramp. And both of them have their disadvantages. So, I think this map has some cool quirks for PvP. Makes you think a little bit more about your army positioning as opposed to some other maps. Not to mention that this map is a reverse ramp map, as you can see here. So, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think that reverse ramp maps are most significant in PvP matchups, because PvP is the matchup that's most likely where you're going to be able to camp at your opponent's ramp and contain them there. And in PvP, it's just so hard to break that contain if somebody sits up here with any number of dragoons. There's not a whole lot that can be done. I mean, you need Reavers to do it, but once you get Reavers out, your opponent has Reavers out, and then you're doing a Reaver micro battle where one of you has the high ground. It's just icky. Anyway, LML, gonna be a little bit aggressive this game, going for a 2-gate with a gas follow-up. So, he's actually not going to be using his 2-gate to make Zealots, which is what you normally do for a 2-gate, but he's going to put on a lot of early goon pressure. And here's the Cybercore. Interesting little variation. Unfortunately for him, he's gonna have to play cross. So it's harder to get your dragoons to do a lot of damage when your opponent is so far away. But we'll see what he's able to micro up. Looks like LML. Yep, putting the pylon down here. Gonna help him see a drop coming in from this side, whether it be DT or High Templar variety, even Reaver drops. Reaver drops on this map are pretty bad though, so I would be very surprised to see any of this game. But no reason to not put the pylon there. It's not as if there's a significantly better place to put a pylon. It's all about the little things. Well, Range is researching for LML now. Has goons out on the way. His range is a little bit behind Mzur, and not because of the gas issue, it's because of the minerals issue. LML is just very mineral poor, as opposed to having 250 gas. Now that may allow him to get some, excuse me, that may allow him to get some faster tech later on, possibly. But in a matchup that's so volatile as PvP, even something as having an extra 250 gas that's unusable is kind of a deficit, and has to do with the build he went for. Getting the really fast gas with no zealots. Well, we'll see what he's able to do with it. Missouri's going to have a similar army composition. But LML should be able to win this with proper micro. Surprised Missouri went back in for it. I think it's going to... Oh, I thought it was going to cost him a zealot, but he focused on the back zealot instead. I wonder how far LML will pursue these zealots, because the Dragoons are faster. Is he actually going to keep going? It looks like he is. Missouri might end up losing 2 zealots, and that's pretty big at this stage in the game. Oh, sacrificing the lower hit point zealot to stop all the Dragoons so the other zealot has a chance to get away. Let's see if his sacrifice will pay off. The Dragoons are running forward, and no, it looks like the zealot sacrificed himself for his friend, and it was not enough. Both zealots will be taken out. Yeah. A little bit of a mistake from Missouri. He had a chance to run away earlier, but went in a second time. He might have been able to get away. His zealots would have had a lot more health, and they were pretty close to getting home. Anyway, Robo facility up for... Excuse me. Robo facility up for LML. Missouri is not going for any fast tech. He has 3 gates and has his expansion up. So Missouri is going for a nice, strong, diverse unit composition. Excuse me, not diverse unit composition. He's going for a nice, strong gateway composition, is what I meant to say. He's gonna flood in with a lot of units. LML going for Observer first, which will defend against the DTs, but there are no DTs coming from Missouri. So LML is actually gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, the Nexus is so much farther behind Missouri's, and Missouri has the gateways to capitalize on it. LML does have a small Dragoon lead now. It looks like 8 and a Zealot compared to 7, 8 and no Zealots. Well, both of them are reinforcing now. So it looks like 1 Zealot and maybe 1 or 2 Goons advantage for LML. But that's going to go away very quickly as Missouri is getting more gateways. Oh, didn't mean to hit that button. As Missouri's getting more gateways and has his expansion already saturated. Did I not close my window? I did not close my window. Boom. Knew it. I always forget one minor detail when casting, and that was it. That I need to cast my window to try to prevent outside noises from interfering. And so it is closed. Anyway, both players now still trying to scout out their opponent just to make sure that nothing weird is happening. Or not. I don't know what, like, proxy reavers? This isn't StarCraft 2. You can't warp in units where the pylon is. I don't know what he was gonna proxy there. Cannons? That doesn't make any sense either. I'm gonna guess it was reavers. It's like the only one that makes even a little bit of sense, but... What? Oh, that's right. Missouri is drunk. That's a much more reasonable explanation than he was gonna proxy reavers. He is drunk. Oh man. Alright. So Missouri's getting his speed zealot upgrade. It doesn't look like he's going for Templars quite yet. Surprised, Missouri very low tech army. We knew that going for a 3-gate and expand, he wasn't going to be as tech heavy as LML is, but he is just ignoring all the Templars, still doesn't have any Reaver tech out, and is now getting a Forge behind this. Interesting choice. If he doesn't engage LML until he has some tech, then that's going to be a pretty big advantage for Mazur, having spent a lot of his early resources on upgrades and extra units, rather than getting that faster tech, which doesn't matter if there's a delay in the combat. Meanwhile, LML does have his Templar archives up, is also getting speed. Don't quite see any Templar on the field yet. None are making. Snap in the observer. Hmm. 105 supply for Mazur compared to 109 for LML. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I thought Mazur would have the supply lead at this point. Interesting. LML just slightly ahead. Leg speed has finished for Mazur, and it looks like he's going to move out with the majority of his army, leaving a control group behind. And this is going to be a very difficult battle for him to get up. LML has his units stretched all the way across this. And this is what I was talking about in terms of you have a choice. You can either try to get up a ramp against this huge arc, or they can try to come in from the same level here, but then have to go through a choke. My StarCraft's lagging. I don't know why my well, it's gone now. Kind of gone. It's weird. Oh, looks like Mazur got his Templar archives up. Now starting to incorporate some High Templar in. You do need to get your Templar out a bit earlier than just building them and then immediately attacking. It's preferable to have them have 2 storms each, and when they come out, they don't have a single one. So, if you want to attack immediately, they would get there and have about enough energy for a storm. But if you wait a good long while, then they'll have enough for 2, which can be much better. Ooh. LML with the Dark Archon. Trying to be all fancy-like. The Dark Archon in this matchup is almost purely for feedbacks. Maelstroms really don't work because Protoss units tend to be pretty spread out, and Mind Control has a very, very specific application of if your opponent has 3/3 upgrades and you have 1/1 upgrades, you can mind control one of their units and get a lot of instant upgrades. But that's about it. And LML had a Forge, and he's been getting, he got +1, which is the same as Mazur, so certainly not for Mind Control. It's just going to be trying to hit the feedbacks. Now, the Dark Archon does have a long range, so it is possible to hit the feedbacks even with the High Templars in the back of the army like this. The issue is you have to be very, very good about casting the feedbacks as soon as the High Templar come into range. Because Storm can be casted from a pretty long ways off. Oh, I just blew my chat's mind by telling them that they can get, yeah, you get upgrades if you mind control a unit. And it applies for other upgrades too. Like, if you mind control a siege tank, and then were to build a siege tank, it would already have siege mode. Which doesn't help out Protoss in the other matchups. It really just helps Protoss for upgrades. I guess you could do it for, like, Templar, if you, like, got a Dark Archon instead of a High Templar, and then mind-controlled one for Storm. But that's an unrealistic situation. It's unrealistic as opposed to upgrades, which would be a totally practical application. Yeah. Looks like LML is now taking a fourth. It's... Ooh. Oh! Very nice storm drop. This base was oversaturated, it looked like. That got a lot of probes. Looks like LML's taking a base. It's a bit of a hidden base, because I think that Mazur can pretty easily kill it if he knew about it. But he isn't sending any units in that direction quite yet. It looks like he's setting up cannons to prevent vulture harass. And here goes LML for another round of harass. Let's see what he's able to do this time. Very nice reaction from Mazur. The probes are all going to get out of there. Once again, that is the second storm casted by LML and not managing to get a single kill with it. Oh, can you see that? I don't think the shuttle could have actually unloaded those units fast enough because it would have unloaded them up here. And the shuttle accelerates pretty slowly. But it looks like LML saw it, so I don't think the Dragoons are actually going to be able to kill it. It's just going to push them in this direction. Maybe it would have if Mazur didn't do that earlier. We'll see. Anyway, Mazur now moving out with a chunk of units. Going to pick off those 3 Dragoons that came out to try to snipe the shuttle, and then immediately move back. I thought possibly he was going to try to contest this base. Although that is a lot of cannons at this point, if you really want to try to attack that. Well, he's expanding up here, which is leading me to believe I really don't think Mazur realizes LML has a base here. He even sent some Dragoons down in this direction to scout out to make sure LML didn't have a base there. +3 on the way for Mazur. LML has a +2 and has not started his +3 yet. Nope. Didn't quite get the probe. Both players are essentially maxed. LML just short of maxed. And there's not much else to wait for here. I'm thinking if... Ooh, storm going down, hitting a good number of Dragoons. I guess Mazur can go for an attack once his +3 finishes. But at this point, he's not actually improving his position at all. It's not as if he's taking... Well, I guess he's trying to expand down here. So he could just do absolutely nothing and then try to out-expand his opponent. It looks like he's taking a lot of damages from storms, though. How much longer till +3 is done? And it's halfway, and that is a very long upgrade. LML getting a lot of very nice storms off. Unfortunately, it is costing him a couple of High Templar. Gonna snap some observers. So, LML going to try to do some more harass, once again with a High Templar and a Zealot, but he's been having so little success that, ooh, picking up a probe. Is he just gonna lift the probe down here and expand? That appears to be what he's doing, going for the hidden expansion. Interesting. Yep, throwing down the pylon, he's going to throw down some cannons there to try to guard the ramp. And here comes harass attempt number 3. This time he's going to get some probe kills, but not a huge number. 6 maybe? Still, pretty good. Mazur apparently has another force somewhere because he got +1 armor. I don't know where he has the other forge located, but +3. Here it is. +3 attack almost done. Compared to LML, who is at 2-1. with +3, still at only half. Mazur going in for an attack on LML's third. There are a lot of cannons here, and the Zealots are going to be able to avoid most of the SimCity, but there's so many cannons, is it going to matter? Yo, it looks like the Zealots are going to be able to take it out. Meanwhile, engagement down at the bottom right takes out the Dark Archon, and I don't think he managed to get any feedbacks off. Very, very good storm from Mazur. And that's a lot of storms hit. Oh! Storm almost took out 3 High Templars, still managed to take out 2. Reinforcements coming in for the back from LML. And Mazur had maybe 40 supply Zealots, a huge number of Zealots, not with this army. So LML is going to be able to crush it. Well, I take that back. LML's +3 upgrades just kicked in time for that battle. So it's going to make what should have been a loss for him with a smaller army into essentially a draw. More units from LML to kill that Archon. Well, Mazur with a 30 supply lead now. Looks like managed to take out all the cannons here, but did not finish off the Nexus, and aren't going to have a chance to kill off the probes. Meanwhile, going for an attack. I think LML was trying to storm the DT, but that did not work out for him. Reinforcements coming in from Mazur. He's going to be able to keep this base alive, although he did lose his probes. LML, he built a pylon wall and then 10 cannons behind it. Still hasn't quite managed to get the expansion down. There we go. Need that 10th cannon before he really felt safe. And this could be a very nice attack from Mazur. LML's army's caught out of position. He's now actually retreating back into Mazur's army. But very, very nice storms go down for LML. He's going to do a lot of damage to Mazur's Zealots and also a good amount of damage to the Dragoons behind that. But Mazur does have more of an army, and LML is spread out. Units coming in from LML from the bottom, but the forces are divided, and the flank really isn't helping him that much. It looks like Mazur is going to be able to clean this up rather nicely. Is he going to be able to push all the way up here? No. It doesn't look like he's bringing the rest of his units. So LML will manage to not lose his natural. But took a lot of damage in that attack. He's now behind Mazur by 60 supply. And I think that a combination of those couple battles is going to be it. I think Mazur is just going to be able to A-move his way to victory with a far larger army, and with 3 attack upgraded Archons, 2 armor, but that really doesn't help the Archons. 1 shield upgrade has happened. Yeah! Fuck you, Gateway! Eat that storm! I don't know what that was. 3-2-1 upgrades with 3-3-2 on the way. LML at 3-1-0, and I don't know if he's still getting upgrades. Getting a shield upgrade, looks like. Well, LML's being pushed back. As I said, he has such a bigger army, he can A-move his way to victory. He has the better upgrades as well. LML wasn't really able to get into a good defensive position, but I don't think that would have mattered. He has a huge number of High Templar, 6 High Templar, but none of them have Storms, so he has to morph them all into Archons. Oh, I guess one of them had Storm. Oh, it looks like LML is going to lose the natural, and it looks like he's going to lose the game. I don't think he's going to be able to work his way out from this. Attack from Mazur coming in and going to finish off what the Zealots started and take out LML's fourth. LML setting up a hidden expansion here, but that's going to be taken out very easily as soon as Missouri realizes it's there. This expansion can live for a little while longer, but he's going to lose his production facilities here. There are 2 DTs, so maybe the DTs can kill some stuff. I don't see an observer for Missouri. And the DTs did take some splash damage from Archons, but not enough to kill him. So it looks like LML is going to live just a little bit longer thanks to the DTs. But here comes the next wave of units for Missouri, a huge wave of units. And I think that he can just ignore the DTs and still be able to take out this entire base with that many Zealots and Archons. I want to see the splash damage kill a DT on accident. Waiting for it. Waiting for it. I don't think that DT's taking splash damage. Nope. GG from LML. Missouri takes game 2. Alright. So, game number 3. Missouri versus somebody. Alright, so Missouri versus DM Breaks. With the funky capitalization. E-R-E-A-K-Z? Was that it? Yes, it was. Nice. So, Breaks playing as the Yellow Zerg. Missouri playing as the Teal Protoss once again. Now, LML just popped into the chat. It seems like a lot of people do that, where I cast their games, then all of a sudden they show up. So I wonder if, like, really good players are just, like, super modest, and they don't want to, like, talk about their games as they're going on. They just want to be all quiet in the background. It's like, yes, a game is happening. Missouri, that's not where a Forge Fast Expand goes. I assume he knows he's playing Zerg, which means that he's going to try to 2-gate Zerg. I don't know, man. I've never been a fan of 2-gating versus Zerg. I mean, Forge Fast Expand is something that's just been perfected to be completely safe. I don't tend to like it when players don't use that complete safety, but it is viable. First gateway's gone down. Excuse me. Meanwhile, what has Breaks done? It looks like Breaks went for the overpull. Yes, this is an overpull. So, he's not going to have to worry about Zealots attacking his hatchery. As it's morphing in, he'll have a good number of Zerglings. But if he doesn't micro his Zerglings correctly, then... excuse me. If he doesn't micro his Zerglings correctly, then he could find that he's not able to kill off the Zealots. He needs to get surrounds on him. I'm stuttering a little bit because I'm wondering where Missouri's next building is. He has... What? Okay, didn't mean to do that. He's not 2-gating. He's not 2-gating. I don't know why you would do this. If you're not going to 2-gate, why didn't you just Forge Fast Expand? You'd have a fast Forge then. I mean, he's going to get his tech out faster, I guess. But fast tech doesn't usually work versus Zerg. In my experience. I mean, it's a possibility, but... Anyway, first few Zerglings are going to poke into Missouri's base. Should be able to block it with the Zealot and the Probe. but he might end up losing a Zealot or the Pylon if he's not careful. Probe goes down, a second Zealot comes out, and that's going to be so he's going to win that fight. He's up to 400 minerals now. Is he going to go for an expansion behind this? Yes, he's going to go for an expansion behind this. So he's not going to have faster tech, and he's not going to have a wall. He's just going to have a couple of extra Zealots that came out nice and quick. Let's see if he can do some damage with them. Brakes has a... Okay, they're all stacked. I was gonna say, Brakes has a horribly low drone count. I mean, he doesn't have a very high one to begin with, but it looked a lot lower than it actually is. Third hatchery going down. Well, Mazur's gonna be pretty effective with his first 3 Zealots. There's a 4th one coming as well. I'm surprised Brakes hasn't thrown down the Sunken yet. Sunkens aren't that good versus Zealots, but it's at least something. You can drill back and forth, put it in the exact same location you would it in a ZVZ. But another wave of Zerglings come out. Does he have speed? No, speed's not even on the way. So he's working with slow lings. That makes it significantly harder. And Mazur doing a good job of keeping all his Zealots alive. He hasn't lost one yet. And now he's going to force Brakes to do something because he's going to whittle away on this hatchery. If Brakes loses it, that's going to be a huge blow. But a nice round. Mazur actually wastes a little bit of time there, and his injured Zealots are picked off very quickly. Mazur could have reacted that better. If he's a little bit faster, he could have got them into a tighter bunch rather than allowing a huge arc of Zerglings to all attack him. And that's going to be the end of the aggression. They did kill off a lot of Zerglings. They disrupted mining a bit, got a couple probe kills. But I have a feeling it could have been a lot worse. Anyway, here come the lings out from Brakes. These are still slow lings. Surprisingly. Can't shoot any over them. Nope, not quite gonna get it. There is a Zealot in the base, but almost dead. So a couple Zerglings can take that out. How much longer until speed? Speed's almost done. And once speed finishes, that is a huge pack of Zerglings looking to get the run by off. This is not a tight wall, but there, are 4 cannons, so that will kill a lot of Zerglings as they try to get through. Hydralisk 10 going down from Brakes. Looks like he's going to follow this up with a 3-hatch Hydra Bust. Mazur is slowly but surely working his way back into a normal-looking Protoss build. His Stargate's about halfway done, and getting an immediate second Stargate behind that. So, he's gonna go 2 Stargate Corsair. I assume it's gonna be Corsairs. It could be Scouts. He could pull a sail, but not likely. +1 air weapons is on the way. It's a very peculiar build. 2... It is for Scouts! What? Mazur's breaking my mind in these games. You know what? 2 Stargate Scouts in a PVZ? You know what? 2 Stargate Scouts in any matchup. That feels like a drunk build. That feels like a build that you do when you are drunk. Mazur's a really good player. It could still work out. But I have to imagine a sober player would not be going 2 Stargate Scouts. Oh, man. Fleet beacon on the way. Gotta get that scout speed upgrade. The one that I don't know the name of. Do I not? I'll say Argus. Argus something. That's one of the upgrades at the Fleet Beacon is Argus. But I do not know if that is the one that increases Scout's speed. Anyway, first 2 Scouts flying out. I don't think that Zergling quite saw. Well, Scouts very good at killing Overlords. They have the largest anti-air attack in the game. It's kind of weird to think about, but yes, Scouts do have the largest anti-air attack in the game. And I guess he's just going to try to poke in and find something to do. Brake's got some fast Hydralisks, so I think that his Hydralisks are going to make doing anything with the Scouts very difficult. Yes, that is the upgrade for Scout Speed. I'm unable to click on it to look at what exactly the upgrade is. Oh, +1 Scouts. He has 6 +1 Scouts. What has the world come to? I don't see how a Citadel's gonna help him with Scouts. And honestly, you know what? At this point, see, in a normal PvZ, it's like, oh, he's gonna get Speed Zealots, because that's what everybody does. But it could be to get Arbiters, so that he can cloak his Scouts. If he had like 6 Cloak Scouts, and 6 Cloak Scouts can one-shot Overlords, maybe that would be like the ultimate combination. It would be like Cloak Wraiths, and you'd have that exact same dynamic. The Wraiths like trying to snipe the Overlords. Anyway. Well, they're flying over Hydralisks. Flying over Hydralisks. That's bad. Scouts take a lot of damage from Hydralisks. Scouts are large units. Doing his best Mutalisk-esque micro here. But he took a lot of damage in that. Managed to kill a couple of drones. Brakes has been supply blocked for the longest time now. That is a benefit to him, at least. He got Overlord speed, but to be honest, Overlord speed really isn't going to help him very much, because as soon as the Scouts find an Overlord, it just dies instantly. It's not like Corsairs where the Overlord can at least run away a little bit before dying. Here's a Scout fleet. Oh, looks like the Citadel was for legs. Man. Scouts. Okay. Mazur's invested a lot into these Scouts now. Of his 93 supply, like a quarter of it is Scouts. And the Scouts are having a lot of really hard time doing harass now, because there are enough Hydralisks that the Scouts have to be really, really fearful of them. And if he pokes in here, he's just going to instantly lose 2 Scouts. He can see that he shouldn't, I would think. Oh! He has enough Scouts to one-shot Hydralisks now. Here we go. It's on! Oh, man. I didn't even consider that to be a possibility. One-shotting Hydralisk with Scouts. Oh, man, I can't put... Mazur. Well, this isn't working out so well for him. He's taking a lot of damage now. Was messing up the micro a little bit. Oh, running into a pack of Hydralisks again. I think he's only lost 1 Scout so far, which is rather impressive. Not making them anymore. Has 2 Corsairs. Is he getting D-Web? Or is he just using Corsairs like normally? Looks like Breaks is trying to deny Mazur of his third. It's going to be very hard for Mazur to take a third, because he has a very small ground army at this point. That High Templar... Okay. And Breaks is finally starting to amass a good number of Hydralisks here. Is a bust a threat at this point. There are 3 High Templar here, only 1 Storm so far, but 2 of them are getting pretty close to a Storm. Zealot attack up on the 3rd for Breaks. That's probably going to be killed. The Scout fleet is rushing home. Possibly to take care of the Lurkers, possibly to help with the bust. I'm not sure what it can do versus the bust, though. Storm going down for Mazur. Kills a good number of Hydralisks. I'm kind of surprised he isn't focusing on the gateways first. He could just pick them off rather easily. Scouts forced to retreat once again. Looks like these Zealots have finished their task. The 3rd is down for Breaks. And Mazur is actually looking pretty strong at this point. It's 2 base versus 2 base in PVZ. Mazur with a 30 supply lead. Although it is like 30 supply in Scouts, so that's not that much. How much supply do Scouts cost? That... I'm pretty sure that's the Corsair energy upgrade. Let me just make sure. It's either Corsair energy... Okay, it was Corsair energy. I was gonna say, it's either Corsair energy or Scout vision. I didn't know which one was more unrealistic at this point, but it looks like Mazur is gonna go into Scout with D-Web. And he has a lot of Corsairs to play around with for D-Web. Is D-Web... I don't know if D-Web has been researched yet. Well, Breaks is going to come back down. Should be able to take out this base. There isn't that much to defend it. Although if these Corsairs do have D-Web, so that's actually going to make it so that the Hydralisk can't attack that. Moving in, going to do a little bit of damage to the Corsairs. Man. Breaks still with very low tech. Just has a hive and has lurkers, but that's pretty much it. And now that the D-Webs have combined with the Scouts, their power is unimaginable. Oh, Scouts! He D-Webbed the Spore Colonies, trying to get in with Scouts, doing Scout Micro to avoid the Hydralisks, doing it in packs. Oh, man. And all that fanciness managed to kill 2 Spore Colonies. Looks like these Zealots ran through some Lurkers, but Zealots have lots of health, so that didn't matter. D-Web! D-Web going down! The Hydralisks can't shoot the D-Web, and now the Scouts are taking out a lot of the drones. Taking out a lot of the drones, they're probably going to be able to get the Spore Colonies down too, but more Hydralisk reinforcements are coming. Loses a Scout. And yes, takes out the Spore Colony and retreats once again. And here comes them with D-Web again. 2 D-Webs takes out all the Hydralisks. But, the Spore Colony is finished. He needs more D-Webs. More D-Webs. Those cells probably all gonna die. Nope, they're not all gonna die. Only one of them's gonna die. Oh, man. Breaks has so much gas right now because he's not making any lurkers. Mazur has so much gas right now, or so many minerals right now because he's not making any normal units. He's making this. Looks like he's trying to save on the D-Webs. Takes out the Spore Colony once again. Oh, and he's kept breaks on 3 bases this entire time. They've been 3 heavily harassed bases, and Mazur is now finally establishing his 3rd. Looks like another Zealot attack on the 3rd, using the Scouts to draw away the Hydralisks so that the Zealots have an opportunity to do some damage, but the Hydralisks are going to be able to get back there in time and kill off the Zealots. And the Scouts going in once again with the D-Webs. Oh, I'm going to lose some Corsairs, though. That's unfortunate. Scouts are a hard counter to Lurkers. If you were unaware of that, Lurkers are actually unable to shoot at Scouts. Dude, that'd be pretty cool if, like, Lurkers did splash damage in lines at air. Like, that's just how high the spikes went up. That'd be pretty sick. It really wouldn't matter, because you never go air versus Zerg anyway. Unless you are Zerg, but in ZVZ, Lurkers don't matter. So it's not as if it would be like a game-breaking thing. Dude, that should totally be an upgrade. Just like make the spikes enormous and shoot all the way up to this guy. All right. More Scouts. Of course, oh no! Running into Hydralisks! Okay, he flew out. Good thing he has that Scout speed upgrade, otherwise he would have taken like double the amount of shots. That would have been bad. Alright. You know, when I see this portrait, I see like a Frankenstein Protoss. Because these 2 little things here totally look like bolts in his head. But they're not like bolts in his head because he's a monster and they're like putting him together. I always think of it, they're bolts in his head because he has to be a Scout pilot. And the only way to get Scout pilots to actually stay in a Scout is to literally bolt their faces into it. And that is how they recruit Scout pilots. They kidnap Protoss babies, bolt their heads into the planes, and say, aha, you will be a Scout pilot forever now. So, D-Web Scout Corsair Dark Templar. Pretty good combination. Oh, he hasn't killed the Overlords yet. Why are there not many Zerglings? Zerglings do not counter Scouts. Nor do they counter D-Web. Oh man, the Scouts gonna rack up so many kills against these Zerglings. Oh man, I'm gonna look for the highest kill Scout. 10 kill Scout, 11 kill Scout, 13 kill Scouts. I think the Scouts are going to provide enough firepower to finally break through the front. Here goes the Scout attack. He needs to D-Web the sunk Spore Colony. D-Web in the Spore Colony. Unfortunately, that Zealot is now unable to attack, but that's fine. Storm's going down on the mineral line. They aren't going to... Breaks isn't going to be able to get enough Hydralisks to actually contest with the Scouts. So Mazur has won it with the power of his mighty Scouts. Oh, man. +3 air weapons. 8 + 3! God, it's so bad. 8 + 3. 28 + 6 is much better. But 8 + 3. GG. You are so sexy. Mazur brings it 3-0. And DM versus NB set 4 is a walkover, so Mazur Missouri gets the all kill with scouts! With scouts! Oh, good stuff. I don't know why this would be any more interesting with scouts, but yeah. Well then. So, well, gonna go into the other clan league. We have Reps versus IFU. Number 1. Now, I mentioned it before, but it's worth saying again because it's been a while. I have taken out / have not replayed, or no, have not downloaded, have not downloaded the replays 5 through 6 if there are any. So while it only says 1 through 4, that does not mean that somebody got an all kill. Necessarily. It could mean that somebody got an all kill. You just don't know. You'll have to watch to find out. Anyway, because I started off this match, I actually know without looking. We have, excuse me. We have, I was like, wait, NB, which one is on Team NB? But no, it's, Reps, parenthesis, DeWalt versus IFU Must. But I need to look to make sure I got capitalization correctly. There are no capitals in Must. There are capitals in DeWalt. Of course. It's the exact opposite of what I thought. IFU Must versus Reps DeWalt in a PvP. I believe Must was purple. Yes, Must is purple. Must is the purple Protoss, top right. DeWalt, the blue Protoss to the left. And we have a PvP on Tau Cross. So, probably not going to see any 2 gates this game. Not going to see anything quite as fancy as what LML was trying to do. Now, excuse me, Tau Cross is an old school map, as I said before. And one of the biggest things about this map that's very different from other maps is how open the other bases are. The 3rd or the 4th, or even the mineral only, on this map do not have chokes to them. They're just completely wide open, which makes it very hard to defend as a in any matchup, but in this matchup specifically, because we're talking about that one. Excuse me. There's not. It's hard to defend because if somebody attacks with Dragoons, you're going to need about an even number of Dragoons. You can't hold a ramp and then have a significantly smaller army, but still manage to just eke it out. So I would be surprised to see if a player is able to secure a 3rd base in this game, unless we have a very defensive game overall. Both players have their cores down. Must's is a bit slower, and that is due to the fact that he got a Zealot out. Or he had started a Zealot, at least. Ah, there's the other Zealot. So yes, because he does have a Zealot out. DeWalt only has 1, and is getting a Dragoon behind it. So a little bit of a build order variation. Typically that tends to favor the Dragoon player, because in early micro situations, having 1 extra Dragoon is better than having 1 extra Zealot. But with proper micro, you can make that advantage obsolete. Looks like DeWalt's doing a good job of keeping his probe alive. On the other side, Must is keeping his probe alive as well, but is finally going to die with the Dragoon coming out. As we said, Must Dragoon is delayed, so the probe's going to live a while longer. Probably not going to live long enough to see, excuse me, to see what kind of tech is coming out. And the probe's going to get, is it actually going to get it away, or is the Dragoon going to be able to catch up? Oh, the probe is running away. It can't turn left because then the Dragoon will get an extra step, and it only needs one more hit. And nope, the Dragoon's gonna turn away. The lucky probe has survived and can return to his life's task of mining minerals or gas, one of the two. Still looking rather even for both players. Must is setting up his units as if he looks like he's going to take a fast expansion, which could definitely work on a map like this. Excuse me. Citadel coming in for Must. He's going to be doing some kind of Dark Templar play. But DeWalt is getting a fast robotics facility. Assuming he throws down the observatory first, he'll be completely fine. Even if he doesn't, he gets the Robo Bay first. We'll probably be able to still manage. Yep, Templar archives are on the way for Must. Now, what will DeWalt do? Observatory first. So Must not going to be able to do anything with fast Dark Templars, but getting the Templar archives does mean that he will have storms out faster. We'll get the Templar out faster as well. His Templar will have more energy for whenever that engagement comes. So there are advantages for going for the fast archives, even if your initial DTs don't quite pan out. Surprised he didn't cancel. There we go. I was gonna say, I was surprised he didn't cancel that goon. Normally you want to get your DTs out as fast as possible. But he did, so first two DTs are on the way. DeWalt's observatory already finished, and the observer will be finished before the DTs, not to mention the fact that they have to walk across the map. And Must will be going for a fast expansion behind this. Now, normally this is an okayly safe move, because the DTs will pin back the opponent and force the opponent to play defensively. Unless, of course, the opponent has observers, then the opponent's able to move out rather freely. And because DeWalt went for those fast observers, this might actually be kind of a risky play by Must. He might not quite be able to defend it. Will the observer cross past the Dark Templar? No, the Dark Templar are going around the long way, it looks like. So the first observer will miss it. I assume a second observer is on the... Whoa! No, there is not a second observer on the way. Alright. A little bit scary for DeWalt, because his observer is all the way on the wrong side of the map. He doesn't quite realize the DTs are on the way, and the DTs are closing in. And he's not making another observer, he's making a Reaver. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, where's the observer? Okay, the observer has gone into the base. He should see the Templar tech. It's now coming back, but he's got a long way to go. These DTs are going to have a chance to do some damage. The Dragoons, they did a block. The DTs are heading towards the middle line. There's no forge. The Reaver still is being built. All the probes are being pulled. They don't have a base to be pulled to, so they're just trying to run away. And the observer still working its way across the map. DT's going to be able to do a little bit of damage. It looks like he's hiding one of them down here, and the other one here. Probe coming back. The DTs weren't able to get that many kills. 0 for that one, and... missed it. I think it was about 4 for the other one. Oh man, he snuffed out where... No, he didn't! No, he did stuff out where that DT was! Oh, he was headed right towards it, but turned around just at the last moment. And this DT will be allowed to live, to lurk in the shadows. No, it won't! Haha, nice. DeWalt comes back around in the second pass. He noticed 2 glimmers and wanted to make sure he got 2 kills. Why is DeWalt's Reaver all alone? Why is DeWalt... Reaver all alone? I should reset the score. I just realized. What? What were you thinking? I have no idea. Must has more units. This should have been an easy kill. This should have been an easy victory for DeWalt with a Reaver. But now he has no Reaver. And now he is going to lose all his Dragoons. Oh, man. Oh, man. DeWalt, he can't afford to lose his natural. It's going to be game over for him. He gets some more Dragoons into the mix. Is it going to be enough? Yes. Enough of Must's Dragoons were injured that Must is going to be forced to pull back. Seriously, though, DeWalt's having some issues this game. Not looking his best. So, he's trying to throw down pylons just to prevent the Dragoons from being able to move in easily and to tank some shots. But looks like they're all going to be taken out relatively easy. The Dragoons do have range. And Must is just funneling in more and more units, and it looks like he's going to go in for an attack yet again. Probes are being pulled, but the Dragoons can just step back, and DeWalt, GG's. IFU Must takes game 1. All right. Game number 2. All right. So, who is the player? Yellow. So it's orange versus white. We have IFU Must as the orange Protoss, and we have Reps Tama as the white player. Tama. Must is orange. Tama is white. Change both their text to black. You know, in setting up these, orange is always the color that I'm most reluctant on picking whether I should be white or black. Neither of them look particularly good. Because with a white background, it's obvious. I need to pick black text. With a dark background, like blue or purple, or even red to some extent, red's another iffy one. But like blue or purple, obviously should be white. Yellow obviously should be black. But orange and red are the ones that I'm not sure on. In red, both of them look good. So red doesn't matter as much to me, but orange, I always feel that both text with orange look bad. I don't know. These are the thoughts going through my head when casting. So, another PvP on Jade. This time we'll have close positions as opposed to cross. Tama going for a faster scout than Must is. Must not going to bother to scout until a little bit later. Could indicate that Tama's looking to get a little bit aggressive. He wants to know where his opponent is so he doesn't need to scout out with the first zealots and the attack can arrive faster. Could just be he just doesn't want to get proxied. Either one reasonable. Must, clearly not fearing the proxy. Isn't going to bother to scout. Which is, of the matchups, this is a pretty safe matchup to just not scout on. Never want to say it's good to not scout, but it's pretty okay. So, Reps Tama has a lot of gas. He got his... Reps Tama got his assimilator very quickly, but hasn't even started his cyber core yet. Now he's starting his cyber core. Huh. Oh. Most probe died. It's 100 gas. Tama has 100 extra gas. And we talked about this in the LML versus Mazur game. Now, this isn't as big as it was in the other game. Tama doesn't have that much extra, considering that he's going to throw down 150 on the range as soon as that finishes, and then an extra 50 on the goon. But still, it's going to be a significant amount of gas that's just left over. It's kind of weird not to throw down the Cyber Core until later. Did he forget about the Cyber Core? Or did he... I mean, he made 2 Zealots, so that's going to delay it a bit, but... It was something weird. Tama going for the very fast Citadel. We're going to see some DT rushing. Must going for the much more conventional 2 gates off of a Cyber Core, getting his range. So... Alright. Well, we'll see if Must once again goes for the... Or, excuse me. Last game, Must did not go for the fast ops. His opponent went for the fast ops. Last time, Must went for DTs himself, but his DTs were significantly slower than the way that Tama's getting them. This game, Must is going for a Robo Facility. Now, will he get the Observer behind this? He probably will get the Observer. That would be the safe thing to do, but it is not guaranteed at all. He could definitely go for a faster Reaver. Archives halfway done. About similar timing to the Robo Facility. So an Observer will pop just in time to stop DTs. Considering that the build time of the Observer is a little bit less than the time it takes DT to walk from close positions. But that's only if he starts at the Observatory immediately. He has enough gas. He has enough money for both buildings. Which one is he going to build? And he does build the Observatory. Alright. So, Tama's going to have a hard time working with his DTs. Pretty unlikely that Must will do the same thing that DeWalt did. Even if he was to send the Observer immediately over to his opponent's base, it wouldn't get very far before the DTs arrived, so he'd be able to turn around easily. Looks like Tama's going to expand behind this. As we talked about earlier, expanding behind a DT rush is pretty safe just because Must won't have many Observers out on the field yet. He can have one to defend his base, but he can't get another one to start attacking until a little while later. Not to mention he wants to keep some army home in case the DT slips in. Looks like Tama's not going to send his DTs immediately, and instead attacking Must a little bit. That's rather rare to see. Most Protoss players just ignore the attacking force and send the DTs on. Must with the Dragoon run-by past a cannon. The very rarely seen Dragoon run-by. Looks like the Dragoon's going to be taken out. And where is the OBS? He went shuttle first, but the OBS is still going to get out. The DTs might be able to pick up a couple of Dragoon kills. Yeah, I got 2 Dragoon kills just because those were both 1-hits. And now the DTs will be running away. See how many probe kills they can pick up. The Observer's lacking a little bit behind because they are slower. Oh, Probe's doing a good job of holding up the DT, but now the DT's starting to get kills. 5 probe kills. And still going to try to run away. If he can keep pace, he can't outrun the Dragoons, but he can, outrun the Observer. Not quite fast enough. Anyway, Tama now throwing up, excuse me, his Nexus. Must with a very similarly timed Nexus. So both players will have similar expansion timings. Must with a little bit better of an economy. Yeah, Tama at 36 supply, or 38 supply, compared to Must at 44. So, that's a byproduct of Must having more gateways for longer, not hoarding extra gas early in the game. Alright. Oh, Must's first Reaver's out. let's see what he's able to do with it. Tama is not going to be going for Reavers this game. When you go for fast Templar Archive, it's only natural that you just add on the High Templars. High Templars also have their applications, but in the earlier game, Reavers tend to be a bit stronger until the armies get a couple control groups big. Well, let's see what he's able to do. He should be able to at least hit the cannons. Reavers do outranged cannons. He has to be very careful to not get himself horribly stormed. That was a nice Reaver shot, hitting both of the Zealots as well. Storm going down, not hitting too much. The shuttle gets out of there with minimal damage. Reavers do not get hit when they are inside the shuttle. And he wasn't quite able to take out either of the cannons, so it does a lot of damage. And the Archon's been morphed. He does not have any storms left. Ooh, shuttle flies in a little bit too close. It gets hit by the, gets hit by the cannon. And Must is going to lose his Reaver. And he's not going to go in with the goons. Oh, it would have been a very tough fight for him. 4 cannons, 3 goons versus 7 goons. Or is it 8 goons? 7 goons, yeah. He would have lost that fight. Nice decision making by Must. Even if these cannons are damaged, some of his dragoons were damaged too, and there was an Archon morphing behind that. So, unfortunate for him that he was a little bit too careless with the Reaver and he lost it. Looks like Must is gearing up to take a third. Another Reaver is coming out. So, all aggression is going to be stopped until at least that comes out. Are we getting upgrades quite yet? No, and no. Take out that pylon. Where is the forge? Ah, here it is. Nope, neither player going for upgrades yet. Observatory for Tama, finally. Very late observatory. Not going to use it necessarily for detection, but just to get scouts off to know general army positionings. Useful information to have. And here comes the Reaver again. But it doesn't look like Must's army is going to be big enough. More Templar have come up with only one storm so far, but this one's pretty close to getting another one. Well, let's see if Mutt's able to defend the Reaver a bit better. Oh, there goes the shuttle. And as soon as the 2 cannons come down, Tama's going to move out with the rest of his army. The Reaver cannot be microed, and oh no, the Reaver! The retarded Reaver walks out in front of all of his units to get the shot off. He forgot that he actually has longer range than Dragoons, not shorter range, and is going to be picked off very easily with the Storm. Must in a full retreat. And Tama, through the kerfudgelings of Must, that's a real word, has pulled ahead in supply. It's 81 compared to 78, where he was at a bit of a deficit before. Must getting his Templar Archives, an indication that he no longer wants to deal with Reavers. I would say that's a pretty fair position to take, given how the first 2 went. Well, so we're looking at a pretty even game at this point. Must only slightly behind in supply. Similar tech for both players once Must starts Storm. Both players gearing up to take a third, but neither one has quite thrown it down yet. There we go. Tama's going to be a little bit faster. We don't see either player making those nice walls we saw LML make, where he just started lining up his Dragoons and stretched them all the way across. Both players have their Dragoons in the generally right position, but there's nothing else to micro at this stage in the game. I'd like to see that. Storm just started now. Gateway count for both players, 6 for Tama, 6 for Must, and 6 for Tama. This probe still stuck. Been stuck for so long. And nope. Must's gonna lose 1 observer. Must gonna... Nope, not gonna lose the second observer. And Must spreading out his units a little bit. I think he could make a bit of a better arc here. He has a lot of zealots. I assume he has speed at this point. Those are going to help out a lot in this engagement, but they're not in the right position. Tama attacking from the bottom side. Oh, a very, very nice storm going down. And a second pretty good storm behind that. Must in a full retreat now. His huge pack of zealots was not helpful at all. Now coming in to help after a lot of the dragoons go down. Triple storming that location. He's going to do some damage to the zealots. Most of them run out of it, though. Although the zealots were very concentrated, so it was still a good storm overall. And Tama is going to just muscle his way through this. Yeah, this is not looking good for Must. This is what I meant when I said I'd like to see both of the players make better arcs. Because Must's dragoons were a little bit more clustered than they needed to be at the beginning. He could have spread it out a bit. He would have had his army all in a better position, ready to engage when Tama attacked. Would it have been enough? I don't know. But it wouldn't have been as lopsided as it was. Tama takes game 2. Alright. Game number 3. Reps versus IFU. Who will IFU send out next? Eonzurg? Eonzurg. With his accursed capitalization that I will get wrong, certainly. IFU.eon. I am pausing. Is it capital Z or lowercase z? And go lowercase z. Zerg. Is that right? Yes! Haha! I got Eonzurg's name right. Oh, I feel so good. See, this is clearly bad text with the blue. I wouldn't want this. You change it to white. Now it looks really good. With orange, I don't have that. I wish I had that. Anyway, so Eonzurg, blue Zerg. Eonzurg is the blue Zerg. Reps Tama is the orange Protoss. So, PVZ on Ground Zero once again. I imagine this PVZ will be quite different from the previous PVZ. Eonzurg is a player who, more than any other, likes the Hydra Bust. Pretty much all Zergs Hydra Bust every now and then in PVZ, but Eonzurg does it just about every time. Not quite every time, but almost everyone either is a Hydra Bust or starts out being a Hydra Bust, then he realizes that the opponent got Fast Storm or has a nice wall or something, and then he stops doing a Hydra Bust. Coincidentally, those tend to be the games he loses. Anyway, Eonzurg with the 12... Was that? No, it's an overpull. Yeah, it's an overpull. And Tama doing normal forge at the natural stuff. It's good to see. It's good to see a forge at the natural. All right. So, Tama's gonna throw down 2 cannons immediately. Gonna play nice and cautiously. Eonzurg probably won't be able to run by now. Good stuff. All right. Is Tama... Ooh, Tama wasn't able to get his scout in. Or at least wasn't able to get the scout out. Going to be picked off by Eon Zerg, and Eon Zerg is moving in with his Zerglings. Tama canceled one of his cannons. And is now rebuilding it, but now he only has one cannon and nothing to block the wall against 6 Zerglings. Eon Zerg could totally take out that cannon. Oh, probe's being pulled at the very last moment. If Eon Zerg had gunned it, he might have been able to get his units in. Now it's going to be significantly harder. He has to try to go through this choke. Oh, but there's a probe there. I didn't even see that probe. It blends in so well with the debris. And nope. The cannon's going to be able to get up safely. And even going to slip out 2 probes so that one of them could get through. A rather slick move from Tama to get the scout off. And he will see that Eon Zerg is getting a lair off of... Oh, here's the other one. Here's the other hatchery. He's getting a lair off of 3 hatcheries. Alright. So, lair almost done now. Well, the Hydra's Den hasn't been thrown down for Eon Zerg. So it looks like Eon Zerg's actually going to play a relatively normal game. And get the Spire at first. He has enough money for it. Or at least he has enough gas for it. Minerals won't take too long to reimburse. Tama, is he going to be able to keep the probe alive long enough to see it? It's being built. If he can get past the Zerglings, and he does, he finds the hole. Is he going to head back, though? Oh, no. Tama does not see the Spire. Ooh. It's unfortunate for him. He put so much work into getting that scouting probe out, and just barely missed the piece of information he was looking for. But now is heading back, and is going to be blocked by the Zerglings. Oh. Very unfortunate. Zealot going to scout out, going to see if Eon Zerg has a 4th up yet, which he does not. Eon Zerg gonna pull his couple probes, or a couple drones away, just to make sure he doesn't lose any before the speedlings are able to get there. And that Zealot will most assuredly die. No, almost managed to get that drone. That's a surprisingly early Dragoon for Tama. Normally you don't start making goons until you're about to push out. Making one this early is highly suspect. My initial reaction when I see a goon this early is that he's going for a 4-gate behind this. Because that's a build that was popularized by Must and Movie from the CJ Entness team to go Forge Fast Expansion and then throw down 3 gateways behind that, flood with goons, and then eventually incorporate some Archons in. But he's not throwing down the gateways behind it. He's going for the standard Stargate and Citadel and Templar archives. It's kind of odd to see the Dragoon come out this early, because the Dragoon is very poor at actually helping against the Zerglings. Dragoons only do half damage, and they have a slow rate of fire, and they tend to be clunky, so it's hard to micro them away. Maybe he just got a Dragoon just so he could block this gap, because a Zealot would not be fat enough to. Anyway, Eon Zerg getting his 4th hatchery, setting up a good-looking SimCity at his 3rd, setting up a pretty good-looking SimCity at his natural. So Eon Zerg is setting up for a nice turtley style at this point. And Tama's going to respond by throwing down some more gateways now. +1 is actually going to be a bit ahead of the Citadel. Speed was delayed so that he could throw down the very fast archives. So, if he was planning on going off for a +1 timing, it's been delayed, but that looks pretty unlikely. He only has 2 Zealots. He's not even making any more at the moment. Speed almost finished as well. Ooh. Looks like DT was able to get some Zergling kills. Eon Zerg, being very responsible, has spores down at his bases. Excuse me. So the DT is not going to be able to get in. Even if Tama had Corsairs, which he does have Corsairs, but he didn't use them for scouting. I guess he felt safe enough with that late probe scout and with the Zealot scout that he didn't really need to. And now looks like Tama's going to move out with a very peculiar army composition. 3 Zealots, 1 Dragoon, 1 High Templar. +1 has finished. Speed has just now finished as well. So it's like a +1 timing, but with a Dragoon and a High Templar instead of an extra 4 Zealots. I don't think he's actually going to be able to do anything with this attack. Eon Zerg's SimCity is perfectly fine. Well, it looks like Tama's going to try to sneak a very fast third. He's not going to be able to defend it if Eon Zerg attacks. But we'll have to see what kind of response Eon Zerg can make. Corsair's going to be able to take out an Overlord even with speed. Nope. Losing 1. And he does not have enough Corsairs to deal with that Scourge. He just needs to flee. Looks like he wants to get the scout off on the other 2 bases, but he's not going to be able to stick around. Ooh. He would have been in a lot more trouble if he was flying just slightly more towards the right. And the Scourge getting very close now. He really can't afford to turn with the Corsairs anymore. Because the Scourge just needs just a very small boost before he's able to intercept. But it looks like the Corsairs are on a course home. Now this is a much scarier composition from Tama. He's very Dragoon heavy and has a lot of High Templars. So, which is what he needs. If he gets off some very nice storms to take out the Hydralisks, then he'll have the Goon muscle to break through a SimCity. But it's really reliant on the very nice storms. If he doesn't get good storms, then he doesn't have the number of speed lots necessary to deal with that many Hydralisks. Eon Zerg has a lot of Hydralisks at this point. Here comes Tama, marching across the map. Eon Zerg hasn't quite scouted it out yet. His Hydralisks are going to be in a good flanking position once he realizes it. That's not exactly a large choke to funnel Hydralisks through, so storming isn't going to be terribly easy. Now Tama backing off. He might have seen the enormous pack of Hydralisks, because that's very scary to be moving out with that army, with knowing that this is out on the field. Eon Zerg with no upgrades yet. How close is he? +1 ranged weapons, needs just a little bit more time. Meanwhile, Tama getting +2. Yeah, getting +2. Well, Tama moving in once again, and Eon Zerg's huge army of Hydralisks is coming around from behind. This High Templar is going to see the tail end of it, but not the entire force. And Eon the Tama, he stormed it with 5 High Templar, but he only was able to kill a couple of them. Oh man, those were perfectly made for him to be able to kill them all off, and he couldn't do it. Oh, and now the Hydralisks are coming in from the back. He wasted so many storms on this attack. He does have a lot of High Templar, though, with energy upgrade, so the number of storms isn't an issue. But still, that was an opportunity squandered. Looks like Eon Zerg doesn't really want to engage this. He's being chased across the map. And now he's trying to get his Hydralisks in there. The storm's going down. That was a pretty good storm. That one, ooh, took out both of the observers. That's not what he wanted to do. Luckily, Eon Zerg doesn't have any lurkers with this army. And now the Hydralisks are getting way too far ahead. He lost half of his High Templar, still has 5 left. Tama with a huge number of High Templar. And storm going down, very nice one that time. And it looks like all these Hydralisks are just going to be killed. Too many goons. And too many High Templar. He wasn't able to snipe enough of them. These Hydralisks will discover that there was a base trying to be set up here. Probably not going to be able to set it up. It looks like he's trying to do lurker egg tricks, but he's doing it with such low health Hydralisks that it's not going to work. Even without the storm, they would have been killed off pretty quickly. And it's not going to buy him enough time to take out the Nexus. 140 supply for Tama compared to 120 supply for Eon Zerg. So Eon Zerg not too far behind, but he does not have very good tech. Still on lair. Does have a Queen's Nest though. Storm's going down. Manages to kill off a good enough. He wasn't even able to snipe the other Templar. He probably should have been able to. Lurkers coming in. There are now observers with his army though, so the Lurkers should not be a problem. Lurkers running all the way to the natural. Not even going to get a chance to burrow. A little bit of a mistake from Eon Zerg there. Looks like he's trying to delay Tama long enough to do some damage to this expansion, but I don't even think that's going to work. Here comes Tama's full force. He was not able to kill much beyond a couple of buildings. Is Eon Zerg getting his hive yet? Yes, now Eon Zerg is getting his hive. But even so, I still don't like Eon Zerg's position. Once Tama... Well, Tama's not going to get this expansion up. I was going to say it's going to be even bases, with Tama having a huge army. But Eon Zerg did deny the 4th. It's a nice move. He still has to deal with this huge force of Goon Templar. What does he have that can stand up to this much stuff? I don't know, man. Tama's doing a pretty good job of using all of his storms, and with that many storms, he can afford to use them. He can afford to use them so slowly, just storming one lurker at a time. There are not that many left. Reinforcements for Eons are coming up from behind, but that's still not going to be enough. Nice storm going down, killing off a lot of the Zerglings, and that was going to be the issue there because Dragoons do not do very much damage to Zerglings. Sunken Colony going down, hatcheries going down, 5 Archons being morphed. He never needs to worry about Zerglings again. And Tama is continuing to rally in units. This looks like it could be a finishing blow. The Archons have now finished. There is a lurker in the back here, and the observers aren't quite in range of it, but he isn't managing to really whittle away the Dragoon count. The reinforcements for Eon Zerg are just being eaten up by the reinforcements for Tama. And the Naturals is certainly going to go down at this point. There are just so many Dragoons. Dragoons do a lot of damage. He's not bringing the full weight of his force. Now he is. Sunken Colony going to go down without any support. Hatchery going down. He could take out the egg. Egg hatched. And now moving up into the main. I think he's going to be able to take out the main as well. Hopefully Eon Zerg's throwing down some hive tech somewhere else so he doesn't need to get all the way back up to hive. Oh, this could be bad. If Eon Zerg loses his hive without managing to get out Defiler dead, then he's going to be so far behind Tama for the rest of the game. It's going to take him a really long time to get back to rebuild the spawning pool, and then rebuild the lair, and then rebuild the Queen's Nest, and then rebuild the hive, and then rebuild the Defiler mount. I really think he should throw it down. He has enough money. I really think he should. Or Tama could just not kill the hive. That could work too. Looks like Eon Zerg's planning on a counterattack. He built a round of Mutalisks, but no upgrades for his Mutalisks. With that many Archons, it's going to be hard to keep them alive for terribly long. Tama only left a few units here. Is he going to still be able to take out the hive? It doesn't look like Eon Zerg's building any units here. Going for an attack on the 3rd. There are a few cannons there, but overwhelming number of cracklings are just going to be able to to kill it off. But reinforcements for Tama seem to still be too good. I don't think he's going to be able to get the Nexus. No, not able to get the Nexus. And man, take out the spawning pool. I assume Eon Zerg is going to rebuild that immediately. Or not, actually. He's not rebuilding the spawning pool yet. So he can only make Hydralisks at this point. And it looks like the Hive is going to go down without him getting any Hive tech off besides Cracklings. And he doesn't have a spawning pool, so he can't even use that at the moment. Things are not looking good for Eon Zerg at all. Is he really not started his spawning pool yet? Is there like a hidden base I don't see? I guess he doesn't have money. He's just gonna put all of his money into Hydralisks. Hydralisks and Lurkers. Only Lurkers coming to attack this third now. Storm going down, hitting 3 of them. He didn't have a chance to scatter them out. Very quickly going to fall. And Lurkers do not do damage to buildings very quickly. So the cannons are going to be just enough to take out the counterattack. And that is it for Eon Zerg. There is nothing he can do to get back into this game. Working with just Hydra Lurker against a player who's already shown that he really, really likes Storm. Well, and move to victory at this point. I guess this is a nice enough SimCity that Tama is going to need a little bit more than this to break through it, but he certainly has enough to deal with any attacks from Eon Zerg like this. In fact, I don't even think that was an attack. It was probably a mistake from Eon Zerg. I kind of want to see I kind of wanted to see it take incidental splash damage from the Archons, because that would have been funny. Nope. Tama's able to expand here, as we saw earlier. He's now expanding to a 5th. So he's up on 5 bases compared to Eon Zerg's 2. There's really no hope for him at this point. Behind 150 to 50 supply. Oh, he killed the Cacao. Oh, man. Oh, man. Does that count as BM? BM against nature? Oh man, that's a 26 kill goon. Nice. Will the heroic goons be able to make it out? Probably not. Especially if he gets stuck on minerals like that. Darn. Still does not have a spawning pool. Man, that's actually really funny that he just didn't rebuild the spawning pool. And since he doesn't have a spawning pool, he can't get a lair or any other building. It's just like all reliant on that Hydralisk den. I think it's me wondering. I wonder what StarCraft would look like if there were no prerequisites for buildings. If you wanted to, you could go 4 probe into... You could go, like, 4 gate. And then make DTs out of it. You have to throw down this... You have to throw down Templar Archives, but then make DTs out of it. How practical is that going to be? Because you, like, don't have the money with only 4. Huh. I guess everybody would go like really fast observer in case somebody went really fast DT. Anyway, so Eon Zerg finally lost. Tama takes game 3. Oh, are we back to helicopter sounds? Let me restart this.